So this week, I figured we can dive into really identifying who your best buyers are. And there is a bit of criteria that I use to define best buyers. So to identify them, you need to go through 4 steps. So capture your best payday, and we'll get into specifics of what these are. Write down your best price, capture your best buyer's characteristics, and then finally capture your best buyer's mindset. All 4 of these are very crucial to really being clear in your identification of your best buyer. So let's dive into this. So your best payday, this is how I like to think about it. And I can't see my whole screen, so I'm going to move you all over to a different screen. One moment. There we go. So criteria number 1 has to have a high net profit. Obviously, we got to make money. Might as well be a lot of money, right? Criteria 2, it has to energize you and really give you a lot of excitement to actually do this, because we want you to actually do the work that you like doing, not the work that you don't like doing. Criteria number 3 has to be easy to deliver. This means that you're not having to do a ton of extra work or build out lots of things and spend a whole lot of time just putting the thing together. Now, this could be a product or a service, doesn't matter. Criteria number 4, it has to be easy to sell. So this is something that you can hear my dog. She's trying to kill the outside. Sorry about that. Has to be easy to sell. So it has to be something that people are consistently wanting. They have a high need for this, and you know that you can turn it over with them and convince them that you are the best person for that job pretty easily. We don't want this to be crazy hard to do. Business shouldn't be hard. Criteria number 5 has to be something that you can keep doing, has that high sustainability factor, and we'll get into why later. And it kind of leads into criteria number 6, has to be something you can replicate or automate. Now, I'm huge on building systems and processes for my business and for my clients' businesses. And so this is something that I really find as a big determining factor. All right, your best price. Step number 2, you got to consider what you're charging right now. It might be perfect. And if it is, that is awesome. However, it might not be. So if you find that you cannot cut some of the fat, so to speak, in the other items, whether that's products or services that you provide without having to dramatically increase your prices, then you might have to dramatically increase your prices. And that's okay. You just have to be willing to do that and have the conversation. But in order to do that, you also have to figure out, what is my best buyer willing to pay? So if you currently today charge $99 for something and you figure out that you have to charge $10,000 for something, that's a mighty jump. And that might not be the exact right thing to do, but there could be other ways of doing that thing that you could scale in frequency of doing it for people without having to put a whole lot of extra energy in yourself. So that could be fine. It's just something you have to workshop with your business, products, and services. The next step, capture your best buyer's characteristics. Now, I like to live by this mantra. If you could only get paid your best price after your client or customer got the results that they're paying for, what relevant characteristics would they have to have in order for you to take on that challenge? So as an example for me, they have to meet some pretty strict criteria, actually. They have to be really fun to work with. They have to be engaged and actually like facilitating that. They don't want to just hire somebody who wants the job done and they never talk to them. They have to be willing to have the conversation that is a challenge sometimes, but the money conversation, how much are you willing to pay to acquire a customer? For those of you that have never met me, I do lead generation for customers, leveraging search engine optimization. So they have to, really know what they're willing to pay to acquire a new customer, a new lead. So those are some relevant characteristics for my customers, my best buyers. So think about that in how you're formatting this for yourself. And then lastly, we have to capture your best buyer's mindset. And this one's really important and it's often misunderstood. So I want to be very clear. We want them to, yes, meet all of your characteristics, but they also have to be aligned with someone who likes the aspect of how you do it for them. So kind of like I just said, they have to be in the mindset for me of actually being part of the engagement with us. So in order to do search engine optimization, we have to work on content. They either have to help us produce it or help guide us through the process of doing that. And if they don't want to do that, then they're probably not in the right mindset for us. And we're probably not going to have the best outcome for them, because we have a very specific way that we like to work. And it works for us because that's how we can get our best success results for our customers and clients. I am going a little fast here, so if anyone has any questions, please feel free to unmute and just ask them. But our last step, or I guess our first step here for you all to take, is to walk yourself through the best offer worksheet. Now, this is kind of a best payday exercise. It will be something that you can take a look at what your actual products or services are and list them. You can see right down here, this is where you would list them, and then you rate them on a score of 1 to 5. And at the end, you just add up the total, and whatever one stands out as the highest, meaning it's met all of those immediate criteria to be your best payday, your best offer, then that's the one that you should probably dive into. Now, we do this not to say that you will have to stop doing all the other things, but it's really going back to the mentality of you can't be all things to all people. And if you're going to put energy into something from a marketing and advertising standpoint, you want to be very clear with that message. You don't want to confuse them and have 5 or 10 or 25 or 50 different things that you can do for them, because it's really hard for that person to put you in a bucket. Everyone likes to put people or situations into a bucket so they can easily classify them. I always go back to the example of using a Rolodex on those little cards that we used to have. Some of us are probably old enough to remember those. You had a limited amount of space, and you couldn't write 40 or 50 things on that. You had to be very concise. So if you have a mental Rolodex, which we all do, you got to be very clear in what your message is. So be very specific with how you're going to market with marketing and advertising so that people understand you. And if you're going to do it that way, then you might as well get paid the most amount of money for it, make the biggest profit, get the biggest result for your customers, and be happy at the end of the day, right?